This is my favorite tsukemen I've had in Japan. Welcome back to episode 29 of my Review a Day series, where I'm going to review a different spot every day in 2025. So this was a restaurant recommended by a friend, and after seeing a photo of the tsukemen, I was sold. Here's the spread of everything we got. My parents went with the soy sauce based ramen. All of them came with 3 types of pork fillet, some duck, and a really beautiful egg. Starting off the ramen, it was pretty good. I felt like the ramen fell on the more saltier side. I would have liked a little bit more umami in it, but that could just be a personal preference. I will say with such heavy flavors, the broth still felt very light, and the noodles were just cooked perfectly. It had that bite and bounciness to it. So the ramen was decent, but it was nowhere near as good as the tsukemen. You get this instruction sheet, which guides you through the different ways to enjoy the noodle. So you start off with just the plain noodles, which on its own was just so flavorful. You get that grain and wheat flavor, which I just haven't experienced in Canada. Then you progress to adding salt, which just brings out a little bit more flavor, and eventually get into the dipping broth. I'll be honest, I could just have this with salt and I would have been happy. But out of all the dipping broths I've tried so far, this one was by far my favorite. I typically don't like tsukemen as much because I feel like the broth is a little too heavy for me, but this restaurant's take on it is definitely a lot lighter. So I feel like the noodles flavors aren't muted by the broth. I feel like every ramen place in Japan does like amazing eggs, and this place was no exception. This is Ha-chan Ramen. I hope y'all show them some love.